Hi there. We're going to talk through the property in number 14 Torre Close, should I say. With all that in mind, let's get straight into it. And where am I? Here we are. So the first thing I'm going to do is just general condition. Then I'm going to get into the pictures and video, which I've downloaded and I'm ready to go with. And then from there, we will talk. I'm just checking another screen whilst I do this. Yeah, make sure I got all the pictures. I do. And then we'll do capital growth and comparables and so on. So there's quite a lot to get through. And I forgot to say, we'll also score it. We score all these other properties. It just helps everyone to get their bearings on the deal. Now, the very first thing I want to do is just quickly go through the floor plan, in fact. And then we'll look through the pictures, and then we will go through the Vibra stuff, and we go from there. Okay, so this is.
Can you share?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Share the screen.
Yeah, thanks.
It's happened.
I know, too often. All right, so it's quite a small footprint. Martin, could you just check EPC and tell me how many square meters it is?
Yeah, I'm checking that as well.
So it's a nice enough property. It's quite I don't quite understand this floor plan, but we'll see all this in a minute.
It's
two bedrooms, obviously.
68 meters square.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. It's quite a...
For 2 bedrooms, it's okay.
2 beds is quite a big size, really. We also have a 3D tour, which is good. I like these 3D tours because you can just really get a lot of detail on them. But anyway, what I'll do just now is I'll go through the photos and then we'll get into the Vibra, and then I think we might do the 3D tour. Okay, so we've got a fairly extensively modernized interior. Now, not a great kitchen, very little space for a kitchen, actually. And oh, I see how they've done it. They've kind of spread the kitchen around, so you've got the cooking area here and the thing there. Okay, it'd be quite good to look at this in the 360 video. This must be the main bedroom. It's got a lot of space, actually, a kind of unnecessarily large amount of space considering. If one could reorganize this floor plan, turn it into 2 beds, it would be better, but expensive. So I think we just have to accept that it is going to remain a 2-bedder. Reasonably modern bathroom, not particularly good. Sorry, I'm just getting a glass of water. It's got a few little touches like these easy open closed faucets, but this is basically as economy a bathroom as you can get. Anyway, nice backyard, nicely done tiles, and there's a couple of small issues I want to show you with this up here on the gable. The odd thing about this property is it's quite wide, but not very deep, which makes it a weird footprint for my liking. I think it's okay. Also, it's got good flooring on this. Like the laminate flooring is probably better than basic. Now, what I'll do is I'll go through this now, and I'll just talk you through some of the issues. Now, this I'm a bit concerned about. I think it's stable. I don't think it's caused any problems for a very long time, but clearly there was some subsidence here because, well, either some subsidence or some bad brickwork. And the reason I say that is because you see this, which looks very like a stepped crack to me, and it was filled in. But if that was done a long time ago, then it's not a problem today. But it's just something to be aware of, and I don't think it's an issue, because if, for example, there was a stepped crack going down the whole back of the house, then it would be an issue. There's another odd thing here, which I don't think is an issue, but it's just interesting. You see how the mortar above and below is intact, and then you've got this mortar, which is a bit decayed, and it runs along the same line as this lintel. So I'm not sure if there's anything wrong there. I don't think there is, but I'm just making you aware of that. And then you have this fairly recently replaced brickwork. And again, it's just little details and one has to be aware of this. So this is obviously the external storage area. Very good, quite useful, but it does eat into the floor plan and the floor space. And that looks like the boiler, which they've put outside, which is probably a good thing from a safety point of view. Looking at this closely, good bricks, nice quality. This feels to me like a 1960s house. And Martin will be able to verify that. The other thing is
the issue with this property is that it doesn't have, but should be after Second World War. Should be.
It feels like a early 1960s, late 1950s house.
Yeah.
But one of the things it does have is a proper damp-proof course. So you see this strip here. So this is good. It's a properly built, probably ex-local authority house. And,
yeah, it is ex-local authority.
It's good property, and it has the gas meter and I presume the electricity meter outside, or some sort of meters outside.
This property asking price 160 just because it have huge gardens.
Yeah,
front gardens, and it's on the main road. So
it's very quiet, this area. So when I was watching the video earlier, it is just, if you listen to the video yourself, you'll see it's just really quiet around here. Like minimal noise pollution, very peaceful, in fact. Now that's quite interesting. We'll have a look at the 3D map in a minute, but you saw that property adjacent, which had a full renovation. It is a nice house. The issue is, of course, it's small. But anyway, right, so here we are here. And then that dog leg is the exterior storage.
And this property doesn't have historical feel, so that's when cared about the property.
It is a small kitchen, isn't it? But I think it looks like it's okay. It's kind of spread out. It's sort of a spread out kitchen and very small, but I think it's perfectly acceptable. And that little dining room suite is quite good. The way you can have those chairs shoved up into the thing and not to take too much space.
I think it's really nice property.
It'll be warm, dry, and fairly economical to run. It's cavity built. I presume it's got decent EPC. What's the EPC for other houses around the place?
And this is the 63.
Okay, so it's got a bit of a way to go, but that's okay.
Yeah, basically, the roof is have only 50 millimeters loft insulation, and to make it C, you need to increase that.
Really, is that all? Okay, well, that's good. That's a very straightforward task.
And maybe the fact that you don't, what you need to do, and you need to low lighting energy to increase, and thermostat for the radiators needs to be improved. That's all.
Now the interior is done nicely. They've spent a few quid on this, so you can see that the flooring is actually the slightly higher laminate, higher quality laminate flooring. We can see later.
For the EPC, it's a 5020, so it needs to be made a new one. But it had been like so.
Double glazing is good.
Yeah, when you will make the EPC again, I think it will even maybe it's 7C because it looks like it's renovated. So, but I don't know.
And then we have the stairs, and up we go. It's interesting that they've chosen to use laminate upstairs throughout. I don't particularly like it. This is very cheap laminate, by the way. It's okay. It's just, but you could expect that this is a relatively warm house. There's that economy bathroom, nicely tiled though. Yeah, it's just little things. Okay, so they're running the hot water off an electricity, off one of those power shower things. Then that tells me that the hot water might be running off an immersion heater. I'm not sure. I doubt it though. I think I don't know. Now that's a big cupboard. I don't really understand why they've how this works. So you've got you've got this big cupboard area here, and then you've got this. So I'm not sure. That's a lot of redundant space by the look of it. Okay, so that's that, and let's just have a look at the 360 images, because I think that can give us quite a lot of information. The roof is good, by the way, if you can see. It's a relatively modern roof. So this has obviously had a really deep renovation. And what I'll do here, you can see that it is a new roof, that they have spent a lot of money renovating this place. So I don't think I can get a view of the roof. This is the one here at the end, isn't it? No.
Yeah, I will. Can I show you? Yes, this one.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
this one.
But this is an old view from 2014.
Yep.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So that they've changed. So this roof is relatively modern, and like within the next, say, 15 years or whatever. That's a nice door. It's a UPVC one, and let's go in. I want to have another quick look at the kitchen. There are all sorts of funny little nooks and crannies. Obviously, that makes for good storage because that'll be underneath the stairs. And they're just very tight for space in here, but that's okay. The fact is, you just compact that. Now, what I want to have a look at is upstairs. So let's just have a look at bedroom 1. That's a big bedroom. And you can see obviously that they have 3 kids. They must be upsizing, I would have thought.
Yes, that's why maybe they're selling the house.
And here we are here. We're just having a look at the bathroom again. Okay, there's not that much to see really. It's all looking okay. So from a condition point of view, my only concern is those old subsidence cracks, but I think they're fine. I think it's all pretty stable. Now let's have a look at some crime, and it's fine for crime. So it's a crime a month, that's fine. In fact, this whole area here is okay, but we can see over here quite a lot of crime. So there must be some kind of council estate here, or some issue anyway with somebody over there, but it certainly doesn't affect things here. This is just a very, very quiet little road. Now, one thing that's interesting is that there are no extensions around here. Now, I don't know whether that's because they just can't, whether there's some kind of restrictive covenant or something like that, but it's unusual to see so few of them. You've got a conservatory here, but generally speaking, you'd expect to see more conservatories and so on. Now, from a demographics point of view, there's a lot of local authority around here, and it's quite it's okay. It's a kind of it's a mixed area, but I would say broadly, yeah, it's a lot of C1, C2. So these are middle class people, middle class people basically, and it would be like the wife, you know, an administrator or some sort of job like that. Nothing terribly exciting, but anyway, it's a reasonably okay area from that point of view. Now the capital growth is interesting. Whenever you study or one studies capital growth, one has to look at other factors. So the situation, the reason this is so strong is because there's an awful lot of local authority housing around here. and I would imagine it's being sold off, and it gets sold at a discount and then gets sold onto the open market, and that really skews the figures, and that explains why it's 33% growth. This is lower, and there is less local authority housing in this domain or this area. And so if I was to kind of give a view on general capital growth here, I would say it is probably in and around the 20. Yeah, I would say it's the kind of 15 to 20% over 3 years mark. So in other words, we would say that a property bought for a median price of 147 in 3 years' time would probably sell for 190 to 200,000 pounds, that kind of thing. So from a capital growth point of view, it's very healthy. Also, there is massive turnover on rental, and that means that there's huge demand here. Now, the other thing I want to have a quick look at is churn. There isn't that much churn, relatively speaking. So this is number of properties sold per 1,000 people, and it just gives you an idea of what's been going on. So here we have the COVID period and pre-COVID. So it's not that much, relatively speaking. It's a fairly quiet area that isn't really on the change that much. But for a nice property, it is desirable and it will go up. Over to you, Martin, on location.
So, yep, I'll share my screen. So I'm going to talk about first zoom out. So it's not far away from Manchester, and just moves. So if you want to go by direction, by center, so if you want to go to here, it's 25 minutes. If you want to go by, yeah, and if you want to go by car, it's more. So
that's very good. Yeah. So public transport's excellent then.
Yeah, and also if you click here, you will see that it's 5 minutes by transport to go to Central Middleton, which is by car, and by transport is 14. Depends when you go and how you go. So because you're not really far away from this. When you zoom, you're really close to school. You have a lot of transport going on the main street, so which you're not far away. And also you have bus stops here, and you have bus stops on this street. So it's okay. It's the location for the transport is nice. The only you have also a lot of green space around, which is pretty nice. You have schools. The only an issue for the location is that you don't have really large supermarket close by. But I'm worried about this because you have a lot of, for example, new builds. So if that was the issue, they will not build a lot of new builds. You have here, this part is building, this part here is coming. Here is
building. So that's going to be the big thing that's going to change this whole area, isn't it?
Yeah. So and that's why this social house are selling. For example, I will avoid this kind of social house, not just share everything. But this social house, this property, for example, it has really huge garden. And if you check the plot map, you will see it's 377 square feet. So that's why the asking price is more, because you have a lot of potential for extension. They won't build one more new house next door here, for example.
Yeah, it's just odd that there aren't any other. The odd thing is there aren't any other extensions around the place.
No, it is. Look, this one.
Oh yeah, that's a double. Wow, that is.
Yeah, so depends. But this area is improving, so it will have a lot. You see, this started. They just have garage. They just started to build here around. And
the other benefit of this property has its own parking. It's got off-street parking, and you can see how the other properties don't have that.
And they're fighting for here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically it's a nice, and you have huge. So if you, for example, add here extension, make it double size, or even I don't know, depends what you want to do. It's really, really nice. Or make a 2 flats. Depends and well, you have a lot of potential for this shot. So yep, that's about the location. For property, yeah, it's as you said, it have like weird plan, but for 3 bedrooms is for 2 bedrooms, I mean, attached house is nice size, and it's hard to convert it to 3, so that's like an issue. It doesn't have exactly because it doesn't have historical sale, this property, but what I can see from number 10 and 16, I can see when they are built and they're same size. So that's the same type of property. So yeah, and they are freehold as well. So yeah, there is the same period of building. With the coal mining issue, you don't have any coal mining issue because the property is here. The coal minings are far away, so I won't be worried about the river and the sea. Surface water, it's very low. What you also can see on the street level, that there is like a slope and there is nothing, no issues with that at all. So yeah, so this 2016, 14, yeah, and you can see that the roof looks reasonable, good, really good. I think they changed it.
Yeah, it's definitely a modern roof. I say modern, within the last 15 years or something.
Yeah, you can see by the color, like this change, this old roof. This has make new roof as well. So you can check by the color. So yeah, it's a nice one based on that. And I will. What else we have to check is the comparables. This is the comparables. I will just zoom in a little bit more so you can see better. So this is the one. This 160, but this is new build. So this is not comparable 190, but this is not really comparable. Why are they asking just to check? Because as you can see, because they have, I don't know, same size, but they're asking so much. 130, 125, but this was, I remember because we analyzed this property, it have weird shape. It's like, I don't know.
That one, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember, like it's half weird.
Have fun.
Yeah, and I remember that it was sold for 140. I don't know why. But yeah, this 125. This is nice as well. So I think the people who selling this 150, they're a little bit optimistic with 160, but they care about the property. They know that they renovated, and that's why they're asking 160.
Yeah, so I talked to the agent about this earlier today, and I got the impression that if the seller can get over 160, then or get a little bit above 160, then they might take the offer. So the agent said to me that there was one offer above 160 from a first-time buyer, and that she'll put that to the customer or the vendor and see if they're interested in selling at that price. And so this one is a class. It's based on what you're saying. This is a story of somebody pricing a property high and wanting to just achieve a certain threshold number, then they'll sell. Yeah. Versus the other story, which is where they price it low and then they get a lot of demand, try and create an auction. Yeah, so therefore, the 160 is kind of the real price for it, then, isn't it?
Yeah. So 1775 by 12 by 165 with all the renovation. Let's say it costs you that 5.6 yield, which is still okay.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Yep. So my this is like when I need to choose between, like, this is more property where first buyers will want to have it than for renting where it works good. But basically this is straightforward, just buy it, rent it out, and nothing, you don't need to worry about it because it's a nice one. Can we give it a score? And
should we score it?
Yeah, and end the session.
Okay.
So not delay much. Yep. I like it personally. I like it. It's renovated. It's not really old. I don't see anything.
All right. So condition, it's actually in pretty good condition actually, and I give it a 4 point. Well, I wouldn't give it 4.5, but I would give it a 4.25. I think it's very solid.
Yeah. Okay.
Location, Martin.
3.9. It's not for 4, but it's still good. Just because it doesn't have close supermarket, large one. Just
area is okay. It's not.
Yeah, it's developing, so it's good. I will give 4.
Okay. And crime is good. It's low. Demographics.
3.8 something.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's exceptional. I think it's okay. Capital growth. It's one of the strongest.
But this is because of. Yeah, but I think it's the strongest. But this house, if you do extension, it will have extremely large. But just because the price is now is high, so just that's why the capital growth maybe will not stay that much.
Well, I think what you're obviously,
yeah,
you're looking at like what it will be worth in 4 or 5 years time. So for example, this is what was it?
24.
M24. And we saw the map earlier, but I just want to see how it compares. Yeah, so this is actually pretty strong. And if I
it's really strong. Yeah, but just because it's like social house and
yeah, I would say it's one of the strongest in the country for sure.
Yeah, but the house, that's why if it's the rare, it's for 4.7, 4.8, almost 5. It's just because the property and so on, and because it's the weird little shape.
But yeah, I would give this a 3 point on capital growth, 3.8. I think it's decent, but it's not absolutely prime, but the area is good.
Yeah.
So will it sell quickly?
Yes.
I suppose, yeah. And is the price about right? Is it delusional?
No. It's a little bit high, but they know that they care, but they renovated, so basically you don't need to worry next 20 years at 15, it depends. So
yeah, so I think the price is acceptable. I think it's just, you know, it's not a particularly
not the best price, yeah, but not bad. So
rent time, it'll fly. And yield, what would you give it on yield then?
It's 3.5. It's not 3.7. I mean, the yield is 5.5, 5.6. So it's not great. It's not bad. So yeah, I will give 3.8.
Not a 3.8 out of this. So this is okay. It doesn't score the highest, and I think the reason is because it's a slightly odd looking property. It's only got 2 bedrooms, which is an issue. It's a little bit far away from amenities. It's a nice homeowner property, but a renter wants to be really close to amenities, and it doesn't have local stores like that close by. The yield is adequate. It's, you know, it's an okay property. It's okay. I don't think it's as strong as say areas like Stockport or whatever, but I think this is strong. Certainly the growth in this whole area is very, very good and promises to continue being good. So then we're into the final question, Martin, which is, what would you say one should offer?
Not more 163, 65. I think they're just a little bit optimistic with the price.
Yeah, but then that's the pricing strategy in this case, because they're pricing it high to you know, they just want to hit a threshold and then they're out basically. So
162, if it's buy it, it's nice.
Okay. Yeah. And I think you'd have a fair chance of getting this property at 162. The question is whether you would offer cash or not. And as ever, the way I would play this is to offer cash and then get on with refinancing immediately. And that way, then you can most probably get financed before you have to employ all that cash and lock it up in the property. So that's what I would be inclined to do. So we're saying, can we just go for a final number on the offer?
162, 163.
Yeah, so the agent has told me that there is an offer above the ask, so I assume it's like 161 or something. And I think if you want to get clear ground, if you just want to own this property and you go in on a cash buy, at 163, then you'll get it. The benefit is you don't have to do any work on renovating it. So it's a whole lot of hassle just out of the way. It is more or less just get some cleaners in there, tidy it up. It's already clean, and then rent it out. So that's a big plus, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let us know what you think.